10 weeks after it became the first country in the world to impose a nationwide lockdown, Italy has begun easing its coronavirus restrictions. Shops, restaurants, bars and hairdressers are reopening and people are free to travel within their own regions. The country was the epicentre of Europe's COVID-19 outbreak and almost 32,000 people have died. But the daily number of deaths and new cases is now at the lowest level since restrictions were imposed. Mark Lowen reports.
A plea for guidance as they emerge from the darkness. In Milan, where Europe's coronavirus plague exploded, they came today for solace to the first mass since public church services resumed after the world's longest national lockdown. This parish alone has lost 80 people. A 2,000-year-old church now has new traditions. The communion wafer is passed between unsullied hands, no longer directly on the tongue, but the palm, not a tissue. For some, it's hard to adjust.
It's a bit strange to hold the body of Christ with the gloves, but it's important that people can come here to regain spiritual and moral strength after all this suffering.
For the faithful, a relief. It seems like a new world, he says. To start again like this is so moving. We missed it. I felt so good, this lady says, but emotions stop any more words. It's been a long 10 weeks for hairdressers and beauty salons, for restaurants and cafes, and for shops like Italy's oldest department store, appropriately named Rinascente, Rebirth.
The new regulations are pretty strict. Everybody coming in has the temperature checked. Grazie. Staff use an app to show them how many customers are in the store at any one time. There are hand sanitizing points everywhere. And no more testing of makeup. And upstairs, there's more.
Changing rooms are disinfected after each use, and clothes tried on aren't put back, but are taken to a separate room, themselves quarantined. This, too, is helping Italy's recovery. A hotel used to isolate infected cases as they wait to test negative, further halting the spread. After 20 days here, Jacqueline is ready to go home.
Me han salvado la vida. A los doctores, a los enfermeros, aquí ha sido una atención buena, porque es una experiencia bruta, porque se ve de la muerte. Se ve de la muerte, es como volver a nacer. Y ancora estoy viva. Gracias, tutti voi.
A step closer to this country healing. Mark Lowen, BBC News, Milan.
President Donald Trump has said he's taking the anti-malarial drug hydroxychloroquine to ward off coronavirus. Speaking at the White House, he told reporters he'd been taking the medication every day for the last week and a half and had experienced 0 symptoms. But the US Food and Drug Administration has cautioned against the use of the drug and says there's no scientific evidence it can fight off coronavirus. The health system in Brazil's largest city, São Paulo, is close to collapse as a result of pressure created by coronavirus, according to the city's mayor. Brazil has the 4th largest number of cases in the world, and there's concern that many in Brazil's cities, including the president, have defied lockdown rules on social distancing. This has put more and more pressure on an already overloaded health service. Our South America correspondent Katy Watson sent this report from São Paulo.
How many more people have to die for the government to take action? The message from one of São Paulo's biggest favelas. Marching to the governor's palace today, they tried their best to practice social distancing. No mean feat in this poor and crowded neighbourhood. My cooking pot's empty, shouts this man. People feel abandoned by the government in their hour of need.
Enough. The pandemic has become more about politics than disease.
Sao Paulo residents have been in quarantine for nearly 2 months now, but there's no sign of it ending. The numbers keep rising. The situation is still not under control. And the expectation is that tougher lockdown measures will be brought in the coming weeks.
But as the number of dead grows, more and more people are giving up on social distancing measures. On Sunday, the mayor of Brazil's biggest city warned that intensive care beds were fast running out, and he implored people to do their part in trying to flatten the curve.
It's difficult to believe that some would rather play a game of Russian roulette with the population. The indifference to death is unseemly. It is a crime of responsibility.
A criticism that many direct at the president himself. Jair Bolsonaro once again spent the weekend railing against social distancing and flouting rules set by his own health ministry. In Rio, the health system is at breaking point. Field hospitals are filling up fast, so too are the morgues. Doctors warn the next few weeks will be critical.
I've never seen anything like it. I got COVID-19. I don't actually know anyone who hasn't been contaminated, but everyone's gone back to work.
Stay at home, the favelas are asking people. Rio's poor neighbourhoods are some of the most violent in the world. But COVID-19 is now a much bigger killer than crime. This weekend, Rio's streets were still buzzing, despite a lockdown. But its beaches will be deserted for some time yet. Katy Watson, BBC News, Brazil.